Hell with the podcast. Here we are. I'm Tim, back with Daryl. And today we've got what I think is going to be an interesting topic, interesting show to review because we're rolling out with episode 40. But welcome. Thank you for joining us today or whenever you are listening. And what's up, man? How are you, Daryl?
I'm doing great, man. I get to crack the mic and talk about music, and it's one of my favorite things to do of all time. So I'm just happy to be here. So
Yes,
getting
and
to chop it up with you.
I see today those that are watching us on video, the number one Braves fan in Georgia has shown back up, and he is getting ready to cheer them on for the second half of the season, which, I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. I said, I don't like when they have the All-Star game and they split it into the first half of the season and the second half of the season, because when they usually do the All-Star game, you're more than halfway through the season with the number of games played. It's not like you're taking a break right at game number 81. It's like game number 95 or something. So it's like you're more than halfway through the season. So they should take the All-Star break earlier. That's my opinion, but they're in the middle of a break right now, getting ready to go on. And as a matter of fact, the All-Star game's tonight as we're recording.
Yes. Hence why I wore the jersey, and we got five Braves in the All-Star lineup. Well, we have 2 starters and 3 on the bench. So, and the fact that I know that, you should be impressed.
I am impressed, especially with how much you love baseball. But, I'll admit, I'll say this. I gave up watching the All-Star game a long time ago. It's
No,
just,
well, it's like the NFL, the Pro Bowl.
yeah. Because I felt like back in the day when I was younger, it like meant something, and I felt like they were they were playing for the pride and of their league, and there was something. I don't want to use this term, but there was something magical because back in the day when we were young, there was no interleague play, so it was just if you were in the National League, you played the National League. So when the American League, so when you saw the All-Star game, unless it was Sunday night baseball or something special going on, this is when you saw the All-Stars from the other league, especially if your home team was the National League like it was for the Braves. But it's just gotten watered down, and just this whole thing, we'll end in a tie, and oh yeah, I'm just like, no, this isn't. It's just like, don't want to hurt you. I'm not saying they get out there and purposely play to hurt somebody, but play to win the game, not, but I have my other issues with baseball right now anyway. So, that's one of them is the All-Star game.
Well, you're way more into that than me. I feel like, just as a stupid baseball fan, I feel like when Yankees Red Sox started happening like way more than it should have, I feel like that's when it kind of started getting away from baseball. It's like when I could see Yankees Red Sox like 4 times a year, and I was like, wait a minute, wasn't this like a thing that you only saw like not that often? And now
Well,
it
they were
happens
always
all
in
the
the
time.
well, they were in the same league in the same division, so they would play each other
I
a
feel like
lot.
I feel like it
But
once I feel like once ESPN got involved, it happened more often
yeah,
than not. I'm
well,
not
of
sure why.
course, they're going to start showing them because Boston has fans across the nation, and so does the Yankees. So why not show them every time that they're playing against each other? But
Yeah,
it's,
anyway.
but they just, I just tell you, they've screwed up baseball. I hardly watch it anymore, honestly, just because it's, hey, if we go into extra innings, we're going to put a runner on second base to begin the 10th inning so we can get the game over with quickly.
Is that a thing? Okay.
Yeah, if they
Hey,
go into extra innings, you automatically start with a runner at second.
wow. That did not. Hey, for all y'all, the only time I really watch baseball is when the Braves are in the playoffs. I am the biggest bandwagoner of all time. So, but I figured since we have 5 Braves in the All-Star game, I would wear my jersey tonight. So I'm not trying to fool nobody. So,
You're not fooling me, I'll say that.
well, no, I mean, you know how much I just could give a crap about baseball, but I figured, what the heck, it's All-Star night, so I figured I'd wear my jersey tonight, so whatever.
It
That
is
I
All
didn't
Star
that I
night.
did not pay for. So
Should have worn mine, but I didn't. I didn't wear it tonight. But I didn't even say this at the beginning of the
anyways,
show. This is your first time joining us. We don't talk about baseball. Again, our podcast is To Hell with the Podcast, and we focus primarily on the music of Striper or side projects that they do. And sometimes material is great because it presents itself to us. So I saw a post yesterday that Michael Sweet did, lead singer of Striper. And I said, what do you think about rolling this out tonight? And because it was, I mean, as I did it, I was like, what I had to distinguish. I think the hardest thing that I had to do with this, because Michael Sweet, what he did was he did his top 10 best rock bands, what his favorite top 10 best rock bands were. And for me, I really stuck to that and I really tried to stick to the rock part of the best rock bands instead of just thinking, what are my favorite bands or what are my favorite singers or whatever, whatever they may be. Looked at it from a perspective of specifically rock and what I like about these bands. So I don't know what you did when you went into it.
well, when you ask me, okay, give me your top 10 rock bands, and and for those listening, this was only brought up like what, 5 hours ago?
Yep.
So
Nothing like
so
crash course,
so
studying for an exam.
and for somebody like me, this would normally take like a couple days. And so I'm like, "All right, no, jot down this, no, why shouldn't this be here and this be over here?" I was passing it over to the wife. I'm like, "What did I miss?" She's like, "You're idiot, you're overthinking this." I'm like, "Yeah, but this and this." And so whatever. There was a lot of factors going into this thing, for the 5 hours that I looked at it, but, I was going at it from a multitude of factors. So we'll just have to go through it. I mean, and there's a lot of bands I wanted to put on here, but I couldn't because I was trying to be hard rock and metal. I mean, I did go over to the metal side, but I wasn't going backwards because you know I wanted to put Prince on here, but I couldn't. So stuff like that. So we can just roll through it and see what happens.
Before we do that, let's at least do this. Let's give what Michael Sweet said his top 10 were.
Yeah, do that first for
And
sure.
he said all-time list, he said rock, not metal, and based on talent, not popularity, and not in any particular order. So Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bad Company.
All right, hold on. Let's back up for a second. So let's give like a 10-second thought on each one of these. So you got thoughts on CCR?
I mean, I've always liked them. I mean, I wouldn't say they're one of my favorites, but I mean, I've never owned an album by CCR. But if they come on the classic station or something like that, I'm going to listen to it, to the two.
Okay. I've always hated CCR, but continue.
Bad Company, it's kind of the same thing for me.
Okay. I like Bad Company better than CCR, but
Now, this is going to be the one that and it's not that I don't like, I've just never been a big fan of them, and that's Queen.
really, I love
Yeah.
Queen. And well, I mean, Queen, Michael's vocal comes from a lot of that comes from Freddie Mercury. So yeah, I totally see but yeah, I'm a huge Queen fan. So, and I see why he is too. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there are some songs that I like by them, but it's not something that I like tune in to make sure I'm listening to, or they're not on my playlist or anything like that. And then, I mean, if you listen to us talk, it should be no surprise that the next one, Van Halen,
Yeah,
where we stand on them.
that's a gimme. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with Van Halen is, and I'm just going to say this because he actually posted something on this today, and there's just a lot of comments recently since Alex Van Halen wrote that book, Brothers, when he went on to say, "We did our best work with Dave." And that just lights up the fuel on the whole DLR or Sammy Hagar conversation. And we always and when Alex Van Halen said that, Michael Sweet came out and I'm paraphrasing here, but yes, that's exactly how I always felt, in a sense, was the best work was done with Dave. But I mean, then you got the argument Van Halen was able to explore a little bit more, when Sammy Hagar, they were able to, do things differently. But what was funny, I'll never forget and I don't know if you recall this or not, but it was like when David Lee Roth left, the brothers were like, good riddance. Somebody, I think it was Alex Van Halen who said it was like a 9-year toothache finally came out,
That was that was in, Live with wasn't that in Live Without a Net?
I don't know if it was in Live Without a Net, but I remember
We got
seeing
yeah,
that
we had
comment.
we had a 9-year toothache, and we got it pulled, and it got replaced with a gold cap. I remember that. Yeah, it was yeah, he was talking about Sammy in that MTV thing.
And it's like, which one is it? I mean, is it?
They they talk out both sides of their mouth when it serves them, which is kinda crappy. 'Cause I mean, they they got a long life, I mean, a fairly long life out of Roth, and they got a pretty stellar second life out of Sammy. So, I mean, come on,
I
you
mean,
gotta.
out of all the years they were part of a band, David Lee Roth was the lead singer for the most time because you had the first 9 years, then you had the greatest hits album after Hagar left with two new songs by Roth. Then you had Sharon, and then in the 2000 time period until the band stopped, you had David Lee Roth back as the front
It
man.
sucked. Yeah,
So, but we can get into that a little bit later more about Van Halen. Journey, I mean, I love Journey. I mean,
I mean, yeah,
and when I say Journey, I'm going to say the Steve Perry version of the Journey. I feel I mean, I know that they're touring right now, and I I really don't have a desire to see anyways. I mean, not just because Arnell is singing, but just because of all the band turmoil that's going on, and you hear the things about Neil and Jonathan Cain, and it's just like I don't want to go see them, because there's just so much turmoil going on within the band. It seems like.
it's really no, it's really sad. There's so much talent up on that stage, man. I mean, I mean, and they were so good with Arnell for so long. I mean, it's like, and they've really been quiet about what the hell's going on with you guys? I mean, because you really had it together for a really good bit of time. So what the heck happened? Because I
Because I mean,
mean,
the thing.
I've seen I've seen Journey with Arnell, and it's like, dang, y'all are still like, I mean, Neil Sean still, I mean, everybody still got their stuff together. So what did somebody sleep with somebody's girl? It's like it really feels like somebody did something like, you know, really nasty that like y'all just can't get over. So I don't know what it is, and I, don't care to know, but it's like, yeah, it feels like there's just something just really bad under the cover kind of stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I hate that it's like that because like they really are one of the most talented bands that like think about how many generations of you know before Steve Perry, and I can't even remember that guy's name, and then you get into the Perry era, and then you get in, get into the Panea era. I mean, they kept that backbone of the band for so long, but I mean, so many hits, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I would hope they could keep it together, but if they can't, that's cool. They could probably all ride off into the sunset and be totally fine.
Yeah, because Journey, just asking real quick, I'm asking system out there. Greg Raleigh,
Greg Raleigh, that's it. Yeah, first singer.
and then Steve Perry, and then of course and then there was even somebody named Steve Augeri, Augeri.
Steve Eckwood. Good grief. He did one. I think he did one. Dang, I forgot about that guy. He did one record,
and
maybe,
then you had Arnell. It
and
doesn't
then
say how
Arnell.
many records they did, but it says he was the lead singer, that Steve guy. He was the lead singer from 98 to '06.
Hmm. Well, and then Dean Castronova was also the singer. He was also the singer and the drummer. They've had some weird lineup changes,
Yeah.
but
What's
the key.
wild Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say what's wild is Arnell has been the lead singer for the longest period of time in the band journey, since
Yeah,
'07, almost 20 years.
yeah. It's interesting too because and I don't want to get into their finances, but I think he's like paid the same. Like, so the dudes in Bon Jovi, they're paid as like employees. They're not like they don't get cut on any roy. And I think that's the same way Arnell gets paid in Journey. And
I mean,
so
I
that
could
that
see that because of the fact I mean, there's really I mean, he wasn't I mean, I don't know why
he
he would
wasn't
get
there.
paid "Don't Stop Believin'" or, "Wheel in the Sky." He wasn't there during that time, and it's yeah, because Steve gentleman, it looks like he did Arrival, Generations, and an EP called Red 13.
Yeah, it's just weird how stuff like that happens. Because like when Rob Trujillo got hired into Metallica, they hired him as like, okay, you get a quarter of everything, you know. So it's like royalties, all that stuff, you get a quarter of it all. So it's just weird how bands deal with stuff. I don't know.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
When Michael Anthony did the tour in '04, what was it exactly that he signed away? What
He
did
signed
he
away
give up to stay in the band at that point? Did he give up royalties and everything?
he signed away his publishing. So yeah. So he signed away
That's what I thought.
yeah, his publishing and whatever songwriting credits.
Yeah.
So yeah, they basically held him hostage. So
Yeah, I know. And then 3 years later, he was gone.
yeah, pretty much. So
So,
good
all right.
Lord, we talked a lot. Can we get to something substantial, my friend?
All right. So keep going on his list. Heart. I've always liked Heart. Heart's always been, a band that I've loved.
I got to see Heart. I think I was 16. My friend's mom had a hookup at 96 Rock in Atlanta. So we
Wow.
got to see them like down like in the like first 10 rows. Autograph was the opener. And
Wow.
this was on the comeback record. So
Yeah, the one just titled Heart, probably.
yeah, yeah, it's like How Do I Get You Alone, and
Yeah,
they had like
Alone and
2 or 3 singles off of that record, and I'd never seen Heart. I mean, I knew like Barracuda and all that kind of stuff from the '70s, but I'd never seen him. But yeah, that was a great record. I mean, yeah, okay, and I can understand going because I did go backwards and listen to a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I can get that.
all right, Boston. Boston, we've talked about Boston before. We
I
both
mean,
love Boston.
yeah, no, yeah, those first 3 Boston records for me, they definitely can stand up against a lot of bands' catalogs, and yeah, I got no problem with that.
Beatles, another that I just even when I was a kid, I just never was like, I like the Beatles. I just
Never
never
got it?
got let me just put it to you this way. I just never got it.
Okay, I'm gonna explain it to you here in a few minutes. So, because they're on my list, so
Okay.
I'll I'll explain it to you. But
Okay, you
yeah,
can
okay,
explain it to me. Thin Lizzy, I honestly, nah, I mean, I'm not with that one either.
I can agree. I can agree with you on that. They got like 2 or 3 songs, but yeah, never really was into them either. So, nah, we can
And
agree on this one.
and then the last one, I love I mean, they're not on my list, but I've always liked them, Foreigner.
I freaking love Foreigner. I've I've loved Foreigner since I think I was in like 4th grade. This it's just they've just always been around. It's
They've always been around, especially like you said, since we were young. Because I mean, I just remember. I mean, I hate to say it, I think the first song that I really remember was "Waiting for a Girl Like You," but then you have "Jukebox Hero," "Cold as I." I mean, then you just start going down the list. I mean, it's just like that band has a lot of hits.
cold as ice at the skating rink, on a Friday night. I mean, Yeah, yeah, Foreigner had so many hits, dude, that I just yeah. I've only seen them, like, one time, but it wasn't even with, like, the original members 'cause they don't even have any original members anymore, but they still sound, like, amazing, but, you know, so I think they just sold they're doing the they I think they just did the thing where they sold, like, their, original catalog, and I think it was for, like, $8 million or something. Yeah, so, I mean, good for them, and the dude that's singer for them now is the guy that used to be in Hurricane, with and, hey, 6 Degrees of Striper. They opened up for Striper at the, Atlanta Civic Center in 1986?
They opened up when I saw them in '87 at the Daytona Beach, like, little convention center. It
Was
was
Hurricane the opener?
Hurricane and TNT, 2 different bands that opened up for them.
Wow, nice. Okay.
I think TNT was the other one, but Hurricane was the one, so
Wow, TNT, that's awesome. Okay. Nice.
but that was his 10.
Nice. Okay.
So let's talk about what our 10. I mean, I know, like you said, you could take a couple of days to put it together, but I saw that yesterday, and then when I was thinking this morning, I was like, that'd be kind of fun just to walk through, what our top 10, you know, favorite bands are. So let's just get I'm sure I'm just gonna get and these are in no particular order, but this podcast is on Striper, so for me, they would be in my top 10. That's all I need to say. You know?
I didn't even have him in my top 10.
Really?
I didn't, because if you're asking me in my top 10 of all time, I'm sorry. I mean, my my brain was just doing this, and I couldn't get there. So,
Yeah, for me,
it
it
is
was
what
an easy one to put them in my top 10. I mean, some of the I mean, and again, I could say one day, yeah, they're my all-time favorite, but then when I look at these musicians, it's a lot about what mood am I in, on a particular day. And so that's why I really didn't want to say, here's my number one band of all time, just because of the fact that it just depends on what mood I am in and what day of the week it is.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, I could this list is crazy as it is because I didn't have that much time to put together, but it'll change every day depending on what kind of mood I'm in, like you said. So yeah, for sure.
But when I also had to put my list, I had to sit there and I looked at some of the bands that I was looking at and I was like, could I consider this a rock band? And I mean, I've got a list to the side, but then as I looked at them, I'm like, I don't really think they fall into the category of rock. And then one particular artist band, I looked it up and I said, could you call this band a rock band? Because I was like, yeah, can I put that person into this band into rock? And so fortunately, AI said yes, so I threw it into rock. So
Mom, you said it was okay.
I know because I really wanted to stick to rock. I didn't want to go because I mean, one time on Facebook a couple of years ago, I talked about who my favorite artists were. I mean, my favorite vocalist. And as I did that, I realized that some of them wouldn't be considered rock, so I couldn't put them on this list. So I had to go in different ways about how I was going to do this because, like, so that's where I was coming from. But I got Striper. So you don't have Striper. So give me one that we haven't talked about.
Well, like, well, give me 15 seconds. So yeah, I was really leaning more heavier on some of this stuff. So yeah, and again, these are in no particular freaking order. So, and I'll just get one off the block that we probably both have, hopefully. So yeah, I'll pull Van Halen off the board. So
Van Halen, who's that? No, just kidding. I'm
if it's
kidding.
not on your board, I'm gonna crawl across this page and punch you in the face.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, they are on my board, and I looked at them when I put them on that they were a given. They were a given for me, but I'll save that for when I give my next one. So, and I think if you've listened to our show, you know why we love Van Halen the way that we do. It shouldn't be any surprise if you're a regular listener.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they part of the reason that we're doing this podcast is because of the influence of this band on this band that we're talking about every week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so we pulled Van Halen. So I'll go ahead and pull this one off the board. Another artist that I put down on this, and we could sit there, but aren't wasn't he part of Van Halen? And yes, but I threw out there Sammy Hagar because I liked him pre Van Halen. I liked him in Van Halen. I've liked him after Van Halen. So if you really look at the trajectory of his career, he's
Dang it.
he's he's been in it since for 50 years, for 5 or 6 decades, and only one, like maybe 19 or 20% of his musical career has been a part of Van Halen. And then, of course, you look at Van Halen, it becomes back to the whole David Lee Roth versus, so it's two different things going through there. So, so when I look at it, I go, yeah, I think I can list Sammy Hagar separately from Van Halen just because he has so much material outside of Van Halen.
Man, so your pick is Hagar, just like his whole career?
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, man.
All right, well, you totally screwed up one of my picks because I have an honorable mention on that
Sorry.
same basis, and I'm like, well, I can't do that because he has so much stuff across all these different things. So I can't possibly pick him because he has so much stuff across all these different projects. And I think if you think about it, you know who I'm talking about. But anyways, I digress, and I'll talk about that later. So anyway, so
Well, who do you
man,
have next on your list?
well, and now I feel like my list has to have a little ranking behind it. So, all right, well, we already took BH off the board, so I'm gonna take. Well, hell, we're not playing any songs, so who cares? I'm gonna take my next pick off the board at Soundgarden
Okay.
because we
Doesn't
all know
surprise me.
how much I love Chris Cornell. He's a incredible songwriter, incredible vocalist, and that band was white hot for several years. So I don't know. I put him up against any of those Seattle bands, and I got another one on the board that's coming after. But yeah, they
Go
were
ahead and share.
they were. Hmm?
Go ahead and share your next one.
Well, my next one would be Alice in Chains. So those two, I would put them ahead of Nirvana because I was never a huge Nirvana person. I always thought that AIC and Soundgarden were better players and better singers.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say that, and I think that's probably, and just to be honest with you, to what you're saying right there, I think that was probably part of the reason that grunge at the beginning didn't settle well with me, because the first band I really heard was Nirvana, and they were calling Nirvana and Pearl Jam grunge, and I'm just like, man.
well, the thing with Pearl Jam had a nice swing to it, but I mean, everybody knows I like the heavy. So Soundgarden and AIC, they just had the heavy,
They
but
had the more heavy to it, yeah.
Pearl Jam had the swing and they were tight as hell. Nirvana was just like it just had that heroin kind of just cloud over it, and I just could never get into it. And so hey, it is what it is. So, but yeah, AIC and Soundgarden, those are my Seattle bands. So
Now, I'll go ahead. I don't have any Seattle bands because I just never really got into that scene, but I'm going to throw this one out there, and this is another band that we talk about quite a bit on the show, and a lot of it has to do, well, I like the vocalist as well, but the guitarist is one of the best, if not the best in the world today, and it's Extreme. I put Extreme on my list. Is that a look of shock, or like you're surprised, or what's that look for?
it's a I freaking love that you did that because there's only 10 bands on the list. I mean, that's awesome because I mean everybody knows how much I love Nuno, but there's only 10 slots, so they got to go somewhere. But I love that you put Extreme on that list.
Yeah, because I mean, I will say this. I don't know if I would have picked based upon their late 80s, early 90s, 3 albums.
Right.
But with them, I don't know if you wanna call it reforming because they went a long time without putting out new music, but when they came out with 6, I mean, I wear that album
Yeah, it's
out.
sick. Yeah, it's
It
sick.
is it is incredible, and I know we've said it before, looking forward to the new Extreme album that's supposedly coming out towards the end of this year. I haven't heard anything new about it except for the fact what Nuno said that he believed it was gonna be their best album yet, but it's when I heard 6, that just made me go back and listen to more, re-listen to those albums from the 80s, 90s time period, and I'm like, yeah, how they've become if I had done this 5 years ago, they wouldn't have been on my list. Now they're on my list.
We should do an episode on 6, dude. I would freaking oof, gives me
Yeah.
goosebumps thinking about it.
Just that whole I mean, they did a video for every single song on that album. Who
Yeah.
does that? Extreme?
Nah, dude, we should totally before the new record comes out, we should do an episode on 6.
Well, I would love to. I would love to. That would be I've tried to get my kids to listen to it, but it's just
Not
like,
working
if you
out.
wanna listen to if you wanna listen to something that's rocking, listen to this album. Listen to this album.
It's a
And it's not
badass
just
record, man. It's
yeah.
I mean,
And you know
even
me, I just like it's not all hard, it's not all ballad, it's not all rock, it's
it's got a nice little up and
flow
down.
to it.
I mean, there's only I think there's only probably one song that I really I yeah, kinda up and down on, depending on my mood, but yeah, dude, there's some monumental guitar solos on that thing. So I'd love to do an episode on that album
Yeah, let's
because
do that. Yeah, I would
I
love to.
absolutely love that record. But I mean, I will die on the hill that Nuno is the best living American guitar player right now, and he's not even American, he's freaking Portuguese, so
I was gonna
whatever.
say, I knew he was Portuguese or Brazilian, I couldn't remember which one, so
Yeah, well, he lives in LA, so whatever. Anyways,
who's next on your list?
alright, so I've already done AIC and Soundgarden, so in no particular order, and I've already done Van Halen. Dang, I'm running out of good ones. Alright, so this one will I know you won't have this one, so I'm going with Anthrax.
Yep, that one is like I didn't even think when I was doing this list, man, I have to say I didn't even think of that. That band didn't even pop into my mind.
Well, I knew it wouldn't. And I was showing this to the wife, and she's like, "Anthrax?" It's like, "Yeah, Anthrax." It's like, "This is me, this is not you." And so, just always been a, growing up skateboard kid, whatever, whatever. But, Anthrax, always been the bands like the West Coast thrash, Metallica, Testament, all those West Coast thrash. It's like, yeah, well, we're over here in New York and we can play just as fast as you guys can. And so they became part of the Big Four, and the rest is history. And they just came out with a new single, I think yesterday, and it's actually not that bad. So yeah, they're still doing the thing, and I still like them. I saw them, golly, probably 3 years ago, and they're
Still
still
doing their
doing the
thing.
thing. So
Speaking
I'll
of
take
seeing
it.
somebody 3 years ago,
Hmm?
somebody speaking of seeing somebody 3 years ago,
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and give off my list of somebody that I'm gonna see later this year, and I actually put Rush on here as part of my top 10.
Nice.
Not because we're going to see them later this year, but I've just always have enjoyed them. They have always been a band I love to listen to.
So this was a new discovery for me when we started talking about this. And I don't know if I missed it or if I was just like not paying attention, but I did not realize that you were like I won't say you were like a Rush fan or whatever, but I didn't realize it's like, well, I think I want to go see Rush because that was a conversation that we had. And I was like, well, of course I want to go see Rush. And I didn't, I was thinking about it, but then I was like, crap, I don't have to get anybody to go with. And you brought it up, and I was just like, well, of course, let's go. But but yeah, I mean, I was surprised that that was something that you would be interested in because only music nerds go to see Rush. But yeah, I'm glad we're going to do that because on multiple levels because this will probably be their last, last tour around the sun. But yeah, I'm stoked to go see this, dude. I'm really am. So,
Yeah,
'cause
it's one of those things that I've always liked, and but I will say this, love the song. This is what I don't like about, and I don't listen to it hardly at all, but like radio or anything like that, it's like they have more than just Tom Sawyer. I mean, yes, I understand that that's probably their biggest hit, but they have more, or maybe not even their biggest hit on the charts. I'd have to go look, but the song that most people recognize, even if you're a fan or not. But
well,
it's
anything on moving pictures.
yeah, anything on Moving Pictures. Because I mean, one of my favorite songs off of Moving Pictures is Red Barchetta. I love that song, and I used to, when my oldest son was really young, I would be like, "Hey, you want to hear?" I mean, he's always been into cars. It's like, "Hey, you wanna hear a song about a car?" You know? I mean, so I would put Red Barchetta in.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, I've always liked them, and and the thing too is, I think the other reason I like them is that their music is storytelling as well, and I've always liked storytelling, and it's like they've got I mean, even as philosophical as the song "The Tree" is, the Trees, I love that song, and I recently found out that, when I was talking to my brother about Rush, he actually did a paper in college on the song "The Trees."
No way.
Yeah, yeah,
Things
and
I never knew.
but yeah, I mean, it was they I just love this, like I said, I've just loved the lyrics that Neil Peart would put behind the songs as well, and, like, one of my favorites by them, it's a little bit more commercialized, but I think as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate the song even more, but it was "Time Stand Still," and that one just like I've always said on this show is the fact that I always pay attention to it musically, but I also look at what it's saying lyrically and what it's speaking, and that, Time Stand Still, it's like one of those songs like, oh, I would I'd put them in there. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I have a ton of favorite, like, just geeky Rush songs where the time signatures change like 50 times or whatever, but one of my favorite lyrical Rush songs is "Spirit of Radio"
I
because
love that one.
it talks about, like, getting out of bed and, talking the DJ's talking to you and all that kinda it's just such a fun song. Would Rush doesn't have a lot of fun songs, so so they're like talking to you, and it's like it's just a really cool song, but, of course, I love, like, YYZ and Limelight and Red Barchetta because you know, as a drummer, it's just fun to play Rush songs. So but it's like, yeah, just all that stuff. I mean, yeah, all that
Free Will is another one of my favorite
Free
ones,
Will is
and
yeah, Free Will is awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
Spirit of the Radio, it would be in my top 5 with Rush because I love that
yeah,
one because it's same like, "Begin the day with a friendly voice,
with
a
the friendly
companion
voice, yeah, it's like it's
a
so yeah,
companion,"
it's just
yeah, I
it
mean, it's
feels
just
almost
such a
like a yeah, like a almost like a Disney song or it's like some cartoon character should be like
Disney song.
it's like some cartoon character should be popping out or something. So, yeah, that's
Alright,
cool.
what you got what do you have on your
Oh
next
my
one?
word, we're getting silly over here. Ugh, alright, so sorry, alright, so we got Alice in Chains, we got da, da, da. Alright, I'm gonna get this one out of the way because I know you don't have this one either, so I'm gonna go Alter Bridge. And so every band on my list is eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, just for the record. Alter Bridge is a band that I've listened to, good lord, probably since I've been married, and so I think they get very little respect in the States, but they sell out arenas in the UK, and so I feel like the the songs that they write are just epics, and it's well, it's Creed except for the singer. So, and I've explained that a million times. So, but they've been with me pretty much ever since I got married. So, you know, 30 to check it, 32 years. So they're going to be on my list. So I don't, I don't know if you have any comments, but I don't know. They're
No,
just
I
one of my
mean
favorites.
I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, they're Creed, with a different lead singer, or you could say Alter Bridge. Creed is Alter Bridge with a different lead singer, and musically, I don't blame you. I'm even looking at my list right now, and I've got Creed as one of my honorable mentions.
I figured you would. Yeah.
And I am looking at my list and I'm like, do I replace Creed with this one and swap, this band out for, make them an honorable mention? But I get why you like Alter Bridge. For me, I just probably just need to sit down and take the time and listen to them more. And I'd probably
Well,
love them.
well, I think that's the problem. Is they don't get the amount of promotion that they should get over
Right.
here. And so, I mean, but man, when I go when I go see them, it's just like, man, y'all just I don't know if y'all need better management. I'm not sure what the problem is, but yeah. I mean, they're because I mean, if you go see a Creed show, yeah, y'all got more money. So, all the sets are bigger and the lights are more awesome and all that kind of stuff, but you're still the same musicians. I mean, I know Scott Stapp is an amazing performer, but so is Miles Kennedy. So, you know, I don't I'm not sh mm, I do probably do have a little bit of bias, but whatever. They're on the list, so Creed's not.
Yeah, I understand why you like that one. But yeah, next on my list is
You gotta throw me a curveball here somewhere, bro. I know it's coming.
next on my list, and they were pretty big in the 80s, but I would say their last album was probably their best, and it absolutely got no radio play at all. I mean, a couple of videos. What's that?
Now, come on.
A couple of videos were made for the album, but MTV didn't play them. They were starting to get into the grunge factor at that point because this was 1991. It was my senior year. And I loved their last album. And as a matter of fact, the very last song on the last album, the record company basically said, "Guys, this is it. Have fun." And they did like kind of like a goodbye song to their fans, but and it goes back to the guitar playing because I've said this 1,000 times before. I love the guitar. I mean, the guitar is the first thing that kind of geared towards. Like, okay, where's the guitar in this song? What's it sounding like? How's it playing? And Vito at that time was one of the best guitarists, I think. And so I'm throwing White Lion on.
Wow. Okay. So just overall.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
I
Wow.
I mean, they came out with four albums, and albums 2, 3, and 4. I love those albums. I mean, I still play them. I still, to this day, doesn't matter if it's Wait, Tell Me, Little Fire Fighter, Living on the Edge, and then anything from their last album. I hear it, immediately goes up.
I think I got lost after 3. I don't even know if I've heard the 4th one all the way through.
Yeah, Main Attraction. That is the one that I
Is that
actually
Main Attraction?
like the most. Yeah,
Hmm,
Main
okay.
Attraction was their last one.
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Huh, okay. Man, we got some wild ass lists over here, I'm telling you. Glad we don't write for Rolling Stone, we'd have been fired by now.
But see, I mean, this is the thing that too, going back to Main Attraction. Yeah, because it was released in April 2nd, 1991, and it was came out a couple of years after Big Game, but I've always I've never really gotten into albums that are like, "Wait, that's it?" Like 30 minutes long. This album was 63 minutes long.
Yeah, but well, that's the '90s, though, but when you're talking, like, mid-'80s, those things were, like, 86 if they broached up on 90 minutes, that was a long record, so, alright, Mr. White Lion, that's a that that I respect that. I respect that. Man, I took AIC and Soundgarden at the same time, so dang it. So I gotta go down here. I'm about to throw a hammer right here. All right, I'm throwing Pantera. So nobody saw these dudes coming. So y'all had your little Alice in Chains and all that stuff, but y'all didn't see these dudes coming out of Texas. And so they were at the NAMM show at 1990, I think. And man, I wish we had some video for this. But yeah, they came on late 1990, early 1991, and just like killed everything. And they busted it hard for like 4 or 5 years. And then cocaine's a hell of a drug. So, but yeah, they did some stuff nobody was doing. And then, God, and then two of the brothers passed away, and cocaine's a hell of a drug. So
Yeah, that I mean, I will say this, I never got into them. I couldn't even tell you one name of a song that they did. So, it was just
hmm,
you know
I'm
my vibe. I just never
trying to think if there was something that you would even know. Was a hit. That was the MTV song. Yeah, you might have gotten around that one. But Cowboys from Hell? Really? Okay.
I'm
Maybe you just
sorry, man. That was that one just I never never just did anything with it, you know, I know of them, but it was like I never gravitated towards them and really used them as a band that I was listening to.
they're really talented dudes. I mean, yeah, they got so big, so but they're back out on the road now, but it's funky because now the dude from well, it's Ozzy's guitar player, but he plays in Black Label Society, and then the drummer from Anthrax is their drummer because both those dudes are dead, but they have the bass player and the original singer, and so I went to see them, and they're really freaking good, but it's weird watching 2 dudes play with 2 dudes that are dead, but they're filling the place pretty good, so, I mean, kinda sucks, but it's you know, the songs are really good, but yeah, it's still kinda weird. So, anyways, so yeah, Pantera.
Now, this next one might be a little I don't know. I mean, do people consider them a rock band? Do people not consider them a rock band? Uh,
I knew you were gonna get here somewhere.
and but when I think about their music, and then I think about this band, and I think about the solo projects, and how much I like the solo projects as well from the different band members, and this particular band, I put up the Eagles because I mean you do have songs like "Life in the Fast Lane." I mean you do have songs like that, but then you got songs like "Take It Easy" that don't really hit the rock vibe. So that's kind of why I was like, well, they do have some rock in them, but then they also have this other, you know, kind of vibe to them that isn't necessarily considered rock, but at the time when they were big in the '70s and early '80s. And then one of my favorite songs by him is "Get Over It." I think we should play that song for a lot of people today, but, you know,
No, dude, that's my wife and we do this thing on the weekends a lot of times where we'll just freaking pull out the remote and just do the YouTube game. It's like, "All right, cool. What song do you wanna play?" And we'll end up on the Eagles, like, at least, you know, 40% of the time, at least once. It's like, you know, Life in the Fast Lane or Take It Easy. I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, you know,
such a fine
such a fine
sight to
sight to
see
see. There's a girl, my lord, on a flatbed Ford, you know,
slowing
because
down to take a
the
look.
Eagles just encompass so many vibes. I mean, they are a rock band, but they're also a country band, and they're also a kind of a folk band. They just have, but they got 8,000 people in the band writing songs. So Glenn Fry's gonna write a song, and then, Don Henley's gonna write a song, and then, they had so many outlets, and that's one of the reasons why they were so freaking awesome. Because I mean, I
Yes,
love the Eagles, but, you know, unfortunately, if you wanna go see them, you have to pay, to, you know, pull pull your teeth out and go sell them to your dentist to get a ticket. So
and go see him.
so, But yeah, no, that's a good pull, man. Yeah, I can dig that because there's so much variety in their catalog. So, I mean, one of the I think I think one of the most rotated records in our house was, the Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 2, because they had that funky eagle skull on the front with the blue around it. So, maybe not, I don't know.
I mean,
Something like that.
I would love to go see him live. I just
Well, we were gonna go see him at the well, we weren't gonna go, but we looked to go see how much it was gonna cost to go see them at the Sphere, and for, like, really crappy seats, it was gonna be, like, $375,
yeah,
and
per ticket.
we had to get to Vegas. So,
Well, even seeing them when they were coming through Atlanta, I mean, just the crappy seats, it was just like, "Oh gosh, I can't imagine spending that much to sit in a seat where I'm not even gonna be able to see them really, you know, unless I'm seeing them on the screen."
well, and they took and I heard on, I was listening to Eddie Truck the other day. So, on the bottom floor, they usually have, like, the 40 things where they put, like, the extra bass under your seat. So they took all of that stuff out on the bottom floor because they were I guess I guess the seats were, like, malfunctioning or something, and they had to, like, reseat everything with, like, different seats, and so they usually have the base under it, and so they didn't have that underneath the base, and the seats were still the same price, and I was just like, "Man, okay." I don't know. I was like, "For $375?" I'm just like, "Whatever." I don't know. Right now, I'm just like, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna go to shows right now, and I'll be fine.
40 or $50, and
Yeah,
that can be it.
yeah,
Okay, pull
exactly.
one off the board now. What do you got?
Alright, so where are we at? So, we went to Alter Bridge, Anthrax, Pantera, okay, that's Drop Soundgarden, alright, so we only got 3 left? Alright, alright, cool, well, hell, I'm pulling the Beatles off the shelf because they gotta be there somewhere, so I was looking at my game room today, and I have 3 Beatles picture discs, 1 Sergeant Pepper, 1 Abbey Road, actually 2 Abbey Roads, and I was like, "Why do I have 2 Abbey Roads?" One of them is my stepdad's, but and you say you don't get the Beatles. Is that what I heard you say earlier?
Yes, that's what you heard me say earlier. I just never got into them. I mean, I know all their songs, I just
Okay, here's what I will say. You need to listen to the Beatles after they started doing drugs, which would be after okay, well, now here we
is
go.
that Sergeant Pepper's or is that
Well,
before that?
there there's 2 greatest hits albums. One of them is blue, one of them is red. So, the red one is 1967. So, anything and that is actually when they recorded Sergeant Pepper is 1967. So, anything past 1967 is when the Beatles actually kinda got good, because everything before that is when they were doing the freaking just bubblegum bullcrap. So, probably not it it's just not good. It's just I can't even name a song. It's the stuff where they were getting off the airplane and whatever. I don't even care. So, but the stuff after, like, '67 was really good, and I don't know. They It's when they were hanging out with the yogis and stuff, and they were playing the harpsichords and stuff. I mean, I don't know. It got more interesting for sure. But oh, yes, like, "She Loves You," "Yeah, yeah," like, all that kind of crap,
Hold
whatever.
your hand.
Yeah, exactly. That was all garbage. So
I mean, growing up, I mean, we had the Sergeant Pepper's album in our house. My brother listened to them. I mean, he listened to all sides of the Beatles from the beginning, in a sense, to the end. I mean, I grew up, I knew John Lennon solo stuff. I knew Paul McCartney's Wings, and I actually liked them a little bit more when they went more solo and did things on their own, like Wings and Paul McCartney versus what he did in the Beatles.
I like Wings a lot too, actually, but the second side of Sergeant Pepper's had some really interesting songs on it, like Within You and Without You. That's a that's a freaking LSD song right there. but the second side of that record has some really you could tell they were kind of stretching out a little bit, but yeah, that record starts like you could tell they were kind of like experimenting with different all kinds of different, but excuse me. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I don't like the blue. I call it the blue version of the Beatles because that was like the '50s version.
Yeah.
And then you get the more like, all right, we're kind of
Yeah, because if I recall correctly, didn't they do like a greatest hits album? And then you had one that was colored blue and then one that
Mhm.
was colored red. That's what you were talking about. Okay. Yeah. Because that's what my brother had. My brother had both of those. So that's why I was now it's clicking with me. And I
Yeah.
remember what they looked like. And yeah, I remember I heard those songs all the time, but I was just like, it just
No, totally. Yeah, the blue one was "She Loves You," yeah, 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 and then the red one was like, "Okay, cool, we're writing some, more serious stuff," and it was really good, so,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I get why you didn't get the Beatles, so that makes sense. It's kinda why I didn't get Pink Floyd. Alright, so
All
where are we
right.
at?
I
Whose
got
turn
3
is it?
left. I got 3
Alright.
left. So, I'm gonna go with one that was on Michael Sweet's list. You mentioned them earlier because we were talking about Michael Sweet and his list, but I put Boston on, not because Michael Sweet did, but kinda going back to what you said earlier. I mean, those first few albums, they were just in I don't know what else to say, they were just incredible, and I love and I mean, I just love the lyrics too, "Peace of Mind." I mean, but I also love the song "Smokin'," and then there "More Than a Feeling," that's probably one of my favorites, I just
Well,
love the
that first debut record, but those first 3 records, I mean, it it'd be hard to get past as the first 3, it's like, "Alright, who's got a better first 3?"
so, I threw Boston on there, we've talked about them before on the show. Do you still have your Boston album sitting behind you? I think you do. Yep, there it is. I see it right next to the Michael Sweet poster. So, and I just recently, I shouldn't say recently, but somebody pointed out to me because I mean, their albums always looked outer spacious and, all that other kind of stuff. But in reality, they're just upside down guitars.
Wait, you never noticed that?
Not until a few years ago.
Well, I'm sorry, I never told you that.
Not until a few
Dang.
years ago did I notice it.
Well, dang, I'm sorry.
So go ahead and pull your next one down off the board. Off.
Man, mine are gonna be, like, lame. Alright, well, I'm gonna bring this one down because it's gonna be nostalgia plus I just love the music, but mine's gonna be Seven Dust. Just because these guys have been in my life since 1989, 90, but, they've never, like, apologized for who they are, and they've always been Atlanta boys, and I've just always loved their music, and, they've always just, been doing the thing in this city for the whole time, and I mean, and they've actually kinda had a little bit of a resurgence lately, so hopefully they they really got screwed on a really bad record deal about 20 years ago, and they've been having to crawl their way back, and I think they're been able to get their stuff back together, so I'm rooting for them as I always have been, so, yeah, my boys in Seven Dust, I've always been rooting for them. So if you don't
That's
know
another
them,
one that
you
I'm
need to go.
not as yeah, that one is another band I'm not as familiar.
Alright.
My next one, before I get to my last one, and again, these are in no particular order. I'm gonna shift a little bit and go into what is called the Christian market. And
CCM?
yes, and I'm not gonna talk about Striper because I've already mentioned them right off the top of the chart,
God, I knew where you're going.
right at the top of the chart. But just with this gentleman and his music, he did a few albums with bands. He did some solo stuff, and now the band that I listen to, they only came out with 2 albums, which I still listen to today. Me and my youngest son, we call it bike riding music because we'll get on our bikes and we'll turn it on and listen to it while we're riding our bikes. And they actually came out with a new song last Friday, like their first like song in decades that they have done together. But the band was Shout, but you might know the lead singer is Ken Tamplin on,
Ken Tamplin. Yep.
because I just think again, guitar wise, lyrically, I just loved it all. I mean, I listened to I was doing something the other day, I can't remember when it was, and I listened to is it called An Axe to Grind? And that has a lot that was Ken Tamplin and, is it An Axe to Grind? Because the album cover is blue, speaking of blue album covers, and it was yeah, An Axe to Grind, and it's got a lot of solo lyrical stuff, it's got a few guitar solo kinda things in it. It's just a fun album to listen to as well. So, I've just always liked them. I mean, take away whatever controversy you think that they have going on now, he's come out, he's talked about it. He's not a I mean, he's not lip syncing even though people want to say he is, but it's because they say technically he's too good. Yeah, I mean, he is. That's one of the reasons why I like him.
That's funny. Technically, he's too good. Okay. I mean,
Well, not that's not me saying that. That's
no, no,
what
no. I'm not saying it is. That's just okay. I don't know. That's just dumb. If
so
that's
I
if
have
that's your if that's your comment, then that's stupid. But anyway, I'm not saying you, just in general.
yeah, so I have one more to go and I don't know how many you have. Do you have one or two?
I have one.
Okay.
You first.
This is the one that I asked AI if I could consider this rock.
Boy. Oh my god.
And because I wanted to make sure, and they called it arena rock, heartland rock, pop rock, whatever you want to call it. But I threw on there Mr. Brian Adams. Driving guitar riffs, a sandpaper vocal delivery, straight ahead, energetic drumming and hooks, up tempo rock hits. He wrote songs for Kiss, has collaborated with Journey, Foreigner, Tina Turner, and Def Leppard. So, yes, he is on my list. I can consider him rock according to AI, and I'm not going to be
Can't
bashful about it.
can't say I didn't see that coming.
I mean, I felt like I could consider him rock, but at the end of the day, I was just like, well, that's my opinion. What does the internet say? So I've
Yeah,
asked and found out.
because the internet never lies.
I know. But no, I threw him on there and I've always liked him. I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks and
My brother, I am you're such a fan. I am never ever gonna give you any about Bryan Adams ever, because you got that dude's back like no other, so I am never gonna bother you about it. So, I'm gonna get back to some actual rock and roll.
but he is in the Canadian Hall of Fame, Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. So
Who the hell else is in the Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of
Rush
Fame?
would be.
Well, they should be. I mean, Bonnie Tyler, you know, God rest her soul. She passed away. Anyway,
Yeah, just this
all
past
right,
week.
so can we just deal with this? And I'm putting Metallica at my number 1, please.
No,
I mean,
I mean
good.
I'm not gonna argue about that one.
Well, nor should you. Anyway, so number 1 hard rock heavy metal band of all time. I mean, at this point, so there's nothing left to say. I mean, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not that I'm gonna sit here and argue about how great the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, but no, but I mean, they're just the best. So I don't really have anything else to say about them. They just keep doing the thing and keep keep reinventing themselves, and you know, keep doing great things for the fans. And you know, I know it's a hell of a ticket price to go see them, but most of the time it's worth it. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm at with them. That's where I'm at
No,
with
and I
them.
don't I don't blame you because I mean, it's my list. I mean, I had those 10 and then I had to the side some other things that I like just so you'll know what I wrote down and our listeners as well as too. But I just Some of them are considered rock, but I like some but the 10 that I wrote down, I just like them a little bit more than, these other ones. But I mean, I had Creed on there. I had, as popular as they are, I've always liked Def Leppard. But then there were some things I was like, I really can't consider these next ones rock. But I wrote them down because they were just I was whatever was just popping into my head, I was writing it down so I could just get it out of the way. But I also wrote down, like, I've always loved Billy Joel, Huey Lewis, Rick Springfield, Rod Stewart. I've always liked those. But when I was thinking about specific rock, I just didn't filter those into
Yeah, but that's
the
not what we were talking
rock
about. Yeah.
rock
I mean,
conversation. But I was getting them
yeah, but
out of my head, but that's just kind of what was popping up as things that I like.
you did freaking Sammy Hagar, and I was like, I was trying to figure out, well, where the hell Steve Vai go, and I couldn't figure out where to put him. I was like, well, you just like you just spread Sammy Hagar like peanut butter all over the freaking place. And I'm like, I could put Steve Vai over 40 years of everything, and it was like, well, okay, whatever. And then I had Iron Maiden sitting there because they also influenced Striper, so like, and we hadn't even talked about any of the songs yet, so
Why didn't you put Prince on the list?
because Prince ain't metal.
I guess maybe that's the difference. I was thinking just rock versus
It's
metal.
no, it's not rock or metal.
What
I
would you
can't.
call him then?
It's pop.
Even with the guitar playing that he does on some of his songs.
But you gave me too big a window. So if I'm looking at Prince from the whole nine, man, it's funk, it's pop,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
it's never metal. It didn't get rock till '84,
got
so
it. Okay, I
it's
hear what you're
yeah,
saying. That makes sense.
yeah, I would never put Prince on this list. I mean, even I mean, much as I love him, but yeah, nah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I hear what you're saying on that. So, but speaking of Prince and speaking of, I watched another. I'll say this real quick. I watched another movie this past week, and I loved it. I'm just gonna say it, and people might laugh with this, but I watched Song Sung Blue with Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson,
Ooh, is that
and
wait, that's
it
Neil Diamond.
yes, and it's based on a true story of a guy and a husband and wife who did a Neil Diamond experience, and it was probably one of the I didn't realize this till after I got done with it, that it had been up for awards and stuff like that, but as I was watching, I was like, "This is one of the best movies I've seen in a while." So, I know Neil Diamond is completely off the charts of what we talk about here, but if you know him and you like him, go watch the movie. It's worth the watch.
All right,
So I just wanted to throw it out there.
I've watched a lot of Neil Diamond stuff. I'm not opposed to it.
Because I will say this, it made me laugh, it made me smile. I was on the airplane watching it, trying not to cry at certain scenes. But it just it was a very good movie. They did it well. So we're an hour and 20 in. Do we want to tackle one of the songs? Do we want to hold off till next week since we've gone an hour and 20?
It's up to you, man. I got all my notes in place. I am down for whatever.
Let's do this. Because it's 3 songs and not 1, let's tackle them next week.
Okay.
Because I think we could probably go another hour and
We could
my
probably we probably could go an hour on these 3 songs for sure.
and I'm thinking that our spouses, being the time that it is, may not want us to go another.
Bro, my spouse is in bed, so
Well, what will happen is my spouse will be wanting to go to bed here soon, and then she'll be like, "Are you ever gonna get off?" No, just kidding. She wouldn't because where my office is, our bedroom's right outside the door. So so let's tackle iconic next week. The 3 new songs.
well, sweet. I don't have to do any more homework.
But I
I
thought I
did.
thought when I saw that, I thought, that this would be a fun conversation to talk because it's something we hadn't done before. And, you know, Michael Sweet posted it. I was like, hey, that would be a fun conversation to have.
No, it definitely is. I mean, when you said that, I was like, well, this is not a 4 hour. And I texted my daughter. She's like, yeah, right. You're not gonna
Well,
have
you
this
know,
thing together in 4 hours.
well, I mean, and maybe it was good that we did it this way because we didn't overthink it.
Well, she was thinking, "No, you're you're gonna overthink it, and this list is gonna be half-assed because you didn't overthink it. Because there's no Queensryche on here, there's no" yeah, she was like, because I sent it to her, and she's like, "Yeah, there's some omission. There's no Pink Floyd on here, just" yeah, it's just she was critiquing it as I'm looking at it right now, so I'm just like
Well,
it's
like
like,
we
"Yeah."
said at the beginning, as of today, that's our top. I mean, I would say that
Right.
was our top 10. You know, on a different day, I mean, this is what popped into our head today, not what popped into our head, not what we always think
No,
about. So,
totally, totally. Yeah. No. Yeah, get your 24-year-old daughter involved, and the list will change. So, but yeah, so alright.
but no. So next week we will tackle iconic.
Yeah, I'm stoked to tackle these songs because that was very and yeah, I don't wanna say too much. I'm excited to get into these songs.
But for those of you that follow them, make sure you continue to listen to them, give them a go over and listen to them. But we're going to be back on Rock and Metal Faith again in a couple of weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had a good time with them last time.
Yeah. So we're going to be back on with them. So, but if you haven't checked them out, go over, listen to Aaron and Chris, and they talk a lot of things in regards to the Christian rock that has been out, was out, you know, everything like that. So go give them a listen because there's great show and some great guys. So just wanted to put that out there real quick.
Yeah, a bunch of good dudes, so yeah, go listen to them.
So, but here we are at the end of the show, at the end of this episode. Next week, we'll be talking about Iconic. And then maybe the following week, we talk about Six, maybe.
Maybe. That'd be fun.
So we can maybe plug that or see what we have coming up here. But, but we're at the end of this episode. I had fun. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, totally.
And it's good to hear the differences. I mean, I know we get on the show and we talk a lot about, Striper and our love for that band, but you can really, I think tonight, if you listen to this, you really kind of see the difference in taste outside of Striper, kind of what, Daryl's picking. I mean, we had a couple that were the same, but for the majority of it, we were on two different planes when it came to what our top songs were, our top bands were.
Yeah, I had to take out Slayer.
Yeah. I know you've talked about Slayer before on here, so that's all right.
Well,
That is totally all right. But no, hope you guys enjoyed it tonight. We'll see you next time right here on To Hell with the Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening at. If you want to, tell us what your top 10 bands are, top 10 rock bands are. We'd love to hear
please,
them.
please. Yes, tell us all
But
about your favorite bands.
until then, we will see you next time. Hope you guys have a great week. Daryl, thanks. Enjoyed it as always. And we will see you guys very soon.
Love you guys.